Welcome. Today what we're going to do is we're going to have what we're calling an energy medicine power panel. I have to tell you, as a traditionally trained physician, and then I spent time in the wellness industry, and then I spent time on Wall Street in medical investments, energy medicine was a black box to me. And what I mean by a black box is I really didn't understand it. I understood physics because I had to take it in school. I understood electromagnetism because you had to take it in school. But what is energy medicine? There was always something about it that intrigued me. And today we have four energy medicine experts. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how energy medicine applies to your life in a practical way. These are four people who've applied it to their life in a practical way. All these people, some I know for a long time, some for a short time, but they're all near and dear to my heart. And what I want to do is I want to get started, and I'm going to start out of left field because I'm going to ask a gentleman who's attracted a lot of energy into his life, and what it's been is it's been financial energy. Finances is a form of energy. Vincent, you have helped not only yourself, but many people be very successful in commerce, okay? How do you look at that, understanding what these people are about, how do you look at that from an energy perspective?
Well, Steve, human beings are like a tuning fork. So I like to align myself with people of good energy, like the people you see on the panel. If you're in business and you come with a true heart, a true spirit of love, a true spirit of giving back to the community, that's good energy. Right? If you're going there with the spirit of taking from people, which most businesses do, they're not thinking of what they can give, it's more of what they can take, how they can extract money. I try to live my life and bring people together only of like mind with a common purpose of giving back, whether it's giving love. If I can be in business with someone or help someone, if I can make them wealthier, you wealthier, the person I'm dealing with, financially free, that's good energy.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And so what you're saying is it's about creating value.
Creating value and giving back.
Right.
With the spirit of love, with the spirit of giving back. The more you give, the more you receive.
Right.
But you have to give with a pure heart, not give with the expectation of receiving back. Give because you truly want to see the benefit of that other person.
Right, and you've been able to leverage yourself. You've been able to help a lot of people.
I've been blessed to help and fortunate enough to help people where they can become financially free. And I will only align myself with people who want to become financially free by helping other people.
Right. Yeah, so I spent 10 years on Wall Street, and that's not the paradigm. It's an energy of win-lose. And really, knowing this is an energy of win-win.
Win-win-win.
Win-win-win, thank you. Win-win-win. And that's really the most important energy of all. Dr. Carlos Orozco, you are a thought leader in the energy medicine world. But there's a handful of people on the planet who have your level of knowledge, insight, and understanding. What does energy healing mean to you? And you can even comment on what Vincent just said about financial energy.
Okay, well, energy simply is, and the way we drive it is according to our intention. And the intention is to help people, but I cannot do that unless I help myself first. And this is something that is applying to the giving and receiving. If I give before I receive, I'm going to empty myself. And then once I'm emptying myself, I'm just expecting that someone will give me something so that I can replace what I just given away. And sometimes that creates a cycle, and I'm always lacking because I've given everything away. Whereas if I reverse that, and I said, to me, the most important thing is to receive. And the best thing, if I can call it thing, it's not a thing, it's energy, is love. If I can receive that love and put it inside of me, then I can be grateful for what I see that love is doing in me and within me. And once I know that, then I can give it away. And I can add my added value, which is the financial part of it. I can make something compounding interest. You give me 1, I give you 10. You give me 2, I give you 100. How is that for business? All of a sudden, I receive the minimum amount of energy, but my body is maximizing it to the point that when I give with abundance. Because abundance is the fact that I can receive with gratitude. That means I'm thankful for whatever I get. And then I give it away. But I give it away far better than what I receive it for, because I have used it. I have been able to maximize it in myself. So therefore I have health, which is the best asset that I can possibly think of, besides being myself. Because the asset to the world that God gave through love is me. And if I can look at this life like that, I'm the best possible gift that I could have ever received, because I received the gift of life so that I can use the gift of love to receive more light. And all of a sudden, these 3 elements come together and they blend, because the minute I bring light into it, I'm bringing energy. And energy comes in the shape of biophotons. Bio meaning life, and photons means quanta. Quanta, they are packages of light packed into one little photon that allows me to see things that are beyond the scope of the visible spectrum. So I can see the goodness in people. I can see the goodness in everything that I do. I can concentrate on what I know is worth living for, and that is for love. But if I use that first, then I'm in the best position to give it away. And when I do that, I create a cycle.
Right.
And that's
So,
that's where the energy component comes in. Creating and generating that momentum that will give me more of what I'm giving away without expecting it. Because that is the key. Not expecting anything. Because I know I have everything. And can you see what I
let's unpack that. And I want to get some comments. I have a feeling this whole crew is going to agree on most everything, so we're not going to be able to create any tension here, which it's fun to do in a panel. But so you're saying light, love, and life, okay? Yeah. And if I would repackage that, I would say you and Vincent, I think you echo the same thing. Exchange in abundance. Have every human interaction be an impression of increase, and to more and more life that creates more and more life. And really, I think that's the most consistent way with how the universe works, because we now know that our universe is not only expanding, but that expansion is continuing to accelerate. And that's what we want to do here, is help people see that. Lorraine, that brings me to you. You know, it's all nice about expanding and increasing love and all this stuff, but you see people every day in your morning work, because I know a little bit about your schedule, how people are energy shut down, chronic disease. Chronic disease is an epidemic in our society. And how do you balance that? How do you manage that constant closed down energy in the morning and that Aquarian medicine, open energy and energy healing and those kind of things in the afternoon? I mean, it's got to be difficult.
You know, I see every second of my life as an opportunity. So a lot of things that may present as obstacles or challenges to me are opportunities of healing. And you can see it even in another patient too. Sometimes they'll come in and they may have anxiety or depression, and we're really one. We're really energetically vibrating as one. So for me, it's about identifying the moment and saying what it is that is I'm meant to get from it.
If we're vibrating as one, why are so many people sick? In other words, it sounds nice, but just help me or help people listening here. If we're all vibrating as one, are we all part? I mean, not to be pedantic or but why are there so many sick people out there? Why are there so many people that are struggling, that are having all these problems.
So when a person's struggling or having all these problems, they're really a reflection of what's going on within themselves, right? And a lot of times we look external to ourselves to find healing. But what we need to understand very clearly is that the healing starts within. And at the core, it's love. Okay, and that's that love that is the core vibration of this universe. Okay, so when we see, that's why I say when we go through our everyday life and we stumble through challenges or obstacles, they're really opportunities of healing, of stories that are coming up that may not have served, that aren't serving us, that happened in the past, for that story to come up and to look at it and say, okay, well, what is it that I need to know? Why is this coming up for me? And looking at it, finding the lesson and saying, thank you, you can go now, and leaving it here. Because it's those challenges and those obstacles that we need to actually grow. So as a human, we want to create. And when we're not creating, we feel stuck, we feel stagnant. Okay?
Right.
So in regards to balance, it's really about balancing and being aware of our surroundings of all time and actually what's truly presenting in front of us in the sense of what is the lesson that I need to know so that I can continue to grow. And at the core, it's exactly what he says is love, is because at that most minuscule particle is light. So it's about being the light, and when you're the light and when you're doing you first, you become the forklift for everybody else. So
Got
it
it.
all starts one person at a time. And it all starts within that person's self.
Gotcha. All right, Richard, I'm going to put you on the spot because everybody here talked about love, but nobody really defined it for us.
Love.
Yeah. Now, what you did is you told me that your originally you were a creative person. You wrote poetry. I think all the
In the
forms
arts,
of sculpture. Yeah.
Sculpture.
And, yeah, I got to tell you, poetry at age 13, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about cheerleaders and baseball and basketball. I got to tell you, that's
People could chew gum and walk at the same time.
I got to tell you, that is really it's impressive. It really is impressive. And then the other thing that you talk about is you talk about this co-creative. But I think what Carlos was saying is like an intracreative, like self-recreation, and then co-creative. And so how would you define love? Because we're trying to have a scientific as well as a meaningful discussion. How would you define love?
Well, first we start with the premise.
Nobody in history has been able to do it, but we're putting you on the spot.
Well,
Right
first
now.
we start with the premise that we're in this reality of duality. Okay, so in order to experience love, we also have to have the opposite of fear, right? Love is what takes us home, right? We're beings of light. You know, it's a vibratory frequency. You know, you go in to see any of the great artists, you know, from John Singer Sargent to Michelangelo to any of these great, beautiful painters and sculptors. They all emit a beautiful frequency through their art. Interactions between people emit a frequency, okay? Love is something that artists, poets have been trying to encapsulate, but never been able to capture because it's an experience, right? We're light beings, right? So we're crystalline soup. I love what Dr. Carlos was getting some of the science of it. You know, in Kundalini Yoga, you know, we put ourselves in these positions that add stress to the body to put pressure on the crystals. And when you put pressure on the crystals, it allows light to refract in a certain way, right? I mean, any doctor, your physicians, we got some physicians here. Anybody done a spinal tap? It's so remarkable, the fluid that's in there. That's their spine. And light is love. Love and light. When you wake up in the morning, the sun comes up. What do you feel?
Right.
A sense of gratitude, gracious attitude, right? And you need to look at the dualities in life to appreciate the love. You know, it's challenging to put it into words.
Right.
But Love is a frequency that ties us all together. But we all have our own karmic issues that we need to work through, and our own experiences that we need to work through that allows us to get to that destination. It's a destination of being.
Right, and I noticed what you said. I hope people caught it was the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear. And hate is based in fear. How did he do on the topic of love? Well, tell us what your definition of love is. Put him in his place here.
No.
Get him-
Yeah.
I go back to the Latin and the Greek, and these are the languages that they are so-called death languages. Greek is still pretty much alive, but Latin is certainly not. And yet, romantic languages such as Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian all come from that beautiful language called Latin. And in Latin, the first rules of grammar were established, and to make words, you need a prefix and a suffix. So the root of the word and the ending of the word, in other words. So when we go back to the Latin and find out what the word for love is, it's not really love. In German, it's not Liebe, as love is, but it's called amor, A-M-O-R. And that has a prefix and a suffix. And the prefix is A, and that means without. If I say I'm aphonic, that means I have no sound. If I say I'm asymptomatic, that means I have no symptoms. So if I say amor, that means without something. Without what? The word mortum comes from mortuar, which means death. Mortuary, mortorium, morte, mort. So when you now put the word together, it becomes an acronym. An acronym is a word made of two words, A and more, without death. And what does that tell you? You talk about the duality. You know, without death, what it really means is eternal life. Because if something is not meant to die, that means it's eternal. And when we apply that to the life paradox, it becomes eternal. Love is eternal, or endless. And there was a book, and there was a movie with Brooke Shields on it called Endless Love, back in the 70s.
I don't know.
You know?
Of course.
Endless
Yeah.
love.
that's good.
And that's exactly what the word love is. It's endless. So it's endless so that you can use it forever. And this is why God is love, because God is endless as well. Doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an end. It just simply is. So if that is the premises, you can use logic and say, well, if love is God and God is love, therefore I can extrapolate these two. And if I said God is love, and for love he loved the world, and for love he created the world, and the creation is, the essence of the creation is love. Everything works in love because it's harmonious. And nature shows you that. In nature, every single component of nature
It's perfect.
is basically perfect because creation is perfection. You have a look at yourself and the way you function, and we are completely unaware of the millions of functions that your body is performing right here, right now, without you even knowing. You can look at a leaf of a tree, and you can see this beautiful shape in the shape of a seed, because the seed is like that, and so is the leaf. And if you look at the head of a sperm, if you ever dare to look at the sperm under the microscope, you'll find that the head is like that as well. Mm-hmm. The tail comes down here, and the acrosome, the little hat as we call it, is right at the top and looks like that. An arrow, when we put an arrow and look at the very tip of it, is like that. And all of a sudden this shape is amazing, because that is known in physics as God's particle. And this is the fundamental structure of the seed of life. And that's why we have that as a leaf, because many of these make the flower of life, and many flowers of life build up the tree of life. And therefore we are in a vast amount of energy that flows in and out feeding from love so that it can give love, and feed from love and feed. And that forms a beautiful geometrical figure called a torus, which is the shape of an apple, the shape of a mandarin, the shape of anything that you would like to see as a round thing. That is the shape of the universe itself.
Yeah. So,
And so it's amazing. Love is everywhere. And when you look at love as the most powerful energy, we know it affects our physiology. Our physiology resonates with that love. So you produce specific substances that can be measured in serum so that you can see that you are in love.
yeah. And it's true, because we were talking about this, how emotions, love, some people call it hate, anger, actually cause quantifiable, and Lorraine knows this because she's in the medical field, quantifiable, measurable substances in your blood that are affecting the way your DNA expresses itself, etc. So now, Richard started us off on this topic of love, and he did a phenomenal job. So this is how I see this discussion, and I'd love some feedback. So Carlos talks about the intracreative journey. How do you love yourself? Because that is the most important thing. Because if you don't have it, you can't give it. These two beautifully articulate the co-creative journey from your root, what you and I discussed, which is beautiful. And Vincent, in my opinion, better than anybody, I'm trying to think, anybody I've ever met in my life, describes the intercreative journey. Because what he really has done is he's put all this together, put all these people together to create that energy that's going to help not only us be more successful, it's about everybody that we touch be more successful. And I think that's the goal. I think that's where we're going. Comments?
That is the goal. The goal is to help people, to help the universe. I believe if enough people did the same thing at the same time, meaning true love at the same time, whether it was meditation, whether it was prayer, however they individually saw it, that we can change everything around us. We have the ability to change everything, to change the negativity, to change the just let's say the ugliness this you hear and you see on TV, on radio, which I try to keep away from. I don't want that entering my ears because it'll enter my soul. But if enough of us get together, enough people like this with like mind, you will change. Not you can, you will change the universe.
Could I make a comment on that?
Of course.
There is something called critical mass. Critical mass is when you got a system that is huge, but you just change a percentage of that and the entire system changes. In 1952, in an island in Japan, there was an experiment run by people that were looking at working with monkeys. And one monkey, all of a sudden, started peeling a potato and washing it on the water. And all of a sudden, that skill was passed on by him to his mom. So his mom also started peeling the potato before eating it. And then the cousin came along and started doing the same. And then the friend of the cousin came along and started doing the same thing again. Within a period of 7 years, this was in 1952, by the time 1958 comes along, something amazing happened. When they reach 100 monkeys doing the same, 99 monkeys doing the same peeling, out of seeing one starting it, by the time the 100th monkey came along and peeled that, all of a sudden, all the monkeys in every island that were not in touch with this island started doing the same. Everyone changed to this habit of peeling the potato before eating it. And that's called critical mass. So statisticians look at the probability of having that done and how many people, how many elements you will need in order to create that change, and they came up with a formula. The formula is you take the square root of 1% of the entire population, and that's the number of people or beings or entities that you need to touch in order to reach for a huge, massive change in the entire population. So that is amazing.
So it's the square root of 70 million, is that what you're saying?
The square root of the 1%
Upwards,
of the
yeah.
entire population. You take N as a population, N is
Right.
always the total number, the total population. You take 1% of that, and you take the square root of that. And the number that you end up with is a number of people or a number of entities that you need to have in order to reach critical mass. The second that happens, you brought inertia, as we were talking before, as when you push something, it's very hard to move it at the beginning. But once you get the momentum going, and you are pushing it more and more, the more you push, the easier it gets. Comes to the point that at the end of the day, you can push something very, very heavy with just your little finger.
Right.
And all of a sudden, everything changes. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to get that number 100, because that is the one that causes the entire population to change.
Yeah.
It's called critical mass. In bacteriology, that is what is called the log phase, is when you have this plateau, and all of a sudden it seems that nothing is ever happening. But all of a sudden you got the lag phase that is exponential. And in a blink of an eye, off you go. Where do you see that? In the bamboo. You can plant
Sure.
bamboo, and you can water the ground for years, and you'll see nothing. 5 years later, you wake up, and there is a 10-meter of the 33 feet tall bamboo there. How did it get here? Well, it's been growing since the day you start watering it. But you didn't see that before until you reach this lag phase. That is called critical mass. And it's just amazing because with very little, reinforcing what I was saying at the beginning, with very little energy, you can do a lot. And that's the whole thing. With a minimum investment, nature works, and that is called efficiency. And love gives you that ability.
And
Because
the intention of these type of people here. All right, any closing comments? Richard, Lorraine?
Well, I want to piggyback really quickly. I know the Transcendental Meditation Organization did a study, I believe it was in Iowa, where they got a certain percentage of people to start meditating daily, and their crime rate went down. And I believe that if we could, put meditation in schools for children, start incorporating it in our daily lives, we'll start to be connected more with the infinite creator, which is really just us. And we'll be able to bring us to that destination of love. Because love is a destination. We're here in this reality of duality, and we need to find a way there. And it's creation.
Beautiful. Lorraine?
I think we're very fortunate actually to be living in this time. And this time is known as the Aquarian Age, and it's an age of great chaos and change and challenges. But with that, we have the incredible ability to shift the momentum and of awareness and of love, so that we can grow together from that one seed. And I'm just blessed to be here. Thank you.
All right, I think we can close on that. Thank you, Vincent, Dr.
Thank
Carlos,
you.
Lorraine, Richard.
Thank
It's
you.
been great. Thank you very much.